Hi, so am I live? Okay. So hello everyone, thank you for joining in. And this is a very optimistic day with Google Developer Students Club, and we are gathered here to talk about the Hacktoberfest event, which is going to. Okay. So hello, should I start? Okay. So should I roll again? So hello everyone, and we have a very optimistic day today. Since Google Developer Students Club have collaborated to bring you the most right information about Hacktoberfest event on happening this October, and we have a very special speaker with us, Mr. Mohan Ram, and he'll be teaching you about and informing you, educating you about the Hacktoberfest event, what is opening source, what is Git and GitHub, and much more about it. So let me tell you about something about Mr. Mohan Ram. So Mr. Mohan Ram is GTM lead and senior manager at DigitalOcean, and he has spoken at Rice Bowl Speaker Fest in Indonesia and formerly with and pitched some ideas on Lisbon as well. So over to you, Mr. Mohan.
All right. Hi, everyone. Hope you can hear me okay. Thank you so much for inviting me. Great job, Divyansh, Anurag, and Pranjal, and to all of you, right, on a weekend, taking the time to come learn about Hacktoberfest, learn about open source, and actively contribute. Really appreciate all the efforts here. So thank you again for having me, and I'm excited to join here and talk about Hacktoberfest. Right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I can walk you all through a quick overview about Hacktoberfest itself. Divyansh, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yeah, awesome. Let me get started. So, welcome again. Hacktoberfest, as you all know, is a global initiative. It's a global hackathon, if you will. It's a month-long hackathon, and we have people from all over the world participate. So, wanted to welcome people in different languages. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your enthusiasm and participation in Hacktoberfest. So a quick agenda for today, right? I'll over the next couple of minutes, I'll take you through a quick history of what Hacktoberfest is. I'll talk you through the process to sign up for Hacktoberfest. I'm sure some of you have already participated in Hacktoberfest. If you have, do send us a comment. I can see some of you have joined from various places. I'm sure in the audience today, we have at least a handful of you who participated in Hacktoberfest before and won yourself a t-shirt, right? If so, do let us know. We'll talk about how you can create your first pull request if this is the first time you're participating. And I'll also point you to some of the key resources that will be helpful for the rest of the month as you participate in Hacktoberfest. So this is the 8th edition of Hacktoberfest, and we're really excited. Year on year, the program has grown by leaps and bounds, and this year is no different. I think as a matter of fact, being virtual, it just enables a lot more people to participate. And the scope of Hacktoberfest applies across regions without boundaries. So very, very excited for that. With that said, some of you might be participating in Hacktoberfest for the first time. So for you, what is Hacktoberfest? It's a month-long celebration of open source software. It was organized and started by DigitalOcean. So year on year, DigitalOcean organizes this initiative, and every year we bring in partners. This year, our partners are Intel, AppWrite, and DeepSource, all very active contributors to open source. So during the month of October, we invite all of you to join the open source community, right? You could be a software enthusiast, you could be a beginner, you could be a developer, anybody who wants to contribute to open source. We bring you together. And what happens during this month-long celebration is people can prepare and share their project for collaboration. They can contribute to the betterment of their open source projects. They can invite others to participate, contribute to their projects. They can organize events like this that the GDG group is organizing. They can mentor others who are just getting started. And this time, we've also created an option for people to contribute directly monetarily through two other open source projects. I'll talk about all of that in just a little bit. So with that, quick overview about Hacktoberfest. I want to talk about what open source is, right? So I also have some of my colleagues joining in to talk about the importance of open source. So let's take a look at this video.
What I love about open source software is that it allows more people to shape the software that's shaping our world.
We really wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have community if it wasn't for our open source.
You know, if you look around the industry, you'll see so much of what we do is powered by open source software, even if you don't know it.
Open source is at the heart of pretty much most technologies that people are using today.
It's so important because it's also a way to share ideas.
So if you want software that really serves a lot of different types of needs, that serves different types of communities, you need more people building that software, and open source allows for that.
So that was a quick video about the importance of open source. DigitalOcean as a company, we use a lot of open source internally to build a lot of our products, to build a lot of our plugins and integrations with other open source software. So we are big proponents of the open source world. And you just heard some of our colleagues speak about the importance of open source and why DigitalOcean is organizing this. With that, I also want to bring in a quick video from our CEO, Yancey Sproul, talking about Hacktoberfest and also welcoming all of you to participate in this year's edition of Hacktoberfest.
Welcome to Hacktoberfest. At DigitalOcean, we believe the community is bigger than just us, which is why we celebrate the open source community throughout the month of October. We started Hacktoberfest in 2013, and that first year we had nearly 700 participants. And over the years, Hacktoberfest has grown to a community of over 150,000 participants in 135 countries who participate by sharing their projects, making pull requests, attending events, donating, and showing their support of open source. We welcome everyone of all backgrounds and levels of technical experience, especially those who are new to open source. Thank you to everyone participating in Hacktoberfest this year, especially the maintainers of open source projects. It's because of you that Hacktoberfest has been a success in bringing so many people into the open source software community over the many years. We can't wait to see what this year's contributors do. And happy hacking.
So that was our CEO, Yancey Sproul, speaking about Hacktoberfest and inviting all of you to participate in this year's edition. So what's happening today, right? Sorry, this slide might be slightly outdated. So what we'll talk today about is the agenda that I spoke to you about, right? We'll speak a little more about understanding Hacktoberfest and how you can contribute to open source. With that, I'll give you a quick history of Hacktoberfest itself, right? So Hacktoberfest started all the way in 2015, and year on year, the program has grown. So these are various pictures and images from over the years that we've gathered, people participating in different parts of the world, wearing our t-shirts very proudly and contributing to open source, right? With that, Hacktoberfest was started in 2014, right? And that was the first year that we organized Hacktoberfest. When we started off, it was a small initiative. We just made an announcement and we said, you can have 50 or more commits on any public GitHub repo in the month of October, and we'll send you a free limited edition DO t-shirt wherever you are in the world, right? The first year we started off pretty small. We had close to about 700 signups. 500 people completed that, and we had 50,000 pull requests. Because first year we had 50 or more commits as the requirement, there were a lot of pull requests, right? So that was year number 1, and that was the t-shirt that we had for the first year. The next year, just looking at the participation we saw from the community, we brought Hacktoberfest back. And this year, we partnered with GitHub for the first time, because a lot of the activity and people contributing to open source projects was happening on the GitHub platform. So we partnered with them, and we also changed the minimum contribution from 50 commits to 4 pull requests, right? And again, this year, the participation really shot up. We had more than 14,000 people who signed up for Hacktoberfest, more than 5,000 completions, and also 49,000 pull requests that were made to GitHub repos that were participating in Hacktoberfest. That was year number 2 in 2015. And 2016, again, I think we made small minor updates. As you will see, year on year, we've tried to improve the program. In 2016, we introduced the label Hacktoberfest. We also brought in meetup kits, event kits for organizers, similar to the GDG group, right? Where there are active members of the community who want to organize their own meetups and events. So we put together a meetup event kit that would make it a lot more easy to organize Hacktoberfest events for their local communities. That year, we had close to 30,000 signups. We had 10,000 plus completions and close to 93,000 plus pull requests that happened on GitHub repos. So that was year number 3. In 2017, again, it was back to Hacktoberfest. Some of you will remember this blue t-shirt. Sometimes we still spot these t-shirts in the wild at developer conferences and events, where people very proudly wear them, because it's a mark of their contribution and their hard work in making open source better, right? We also introduced the hashtag Hacktoberfest. We had 75,000 signups, 32,000 completions, and more than 240K pull requests that happened in 2017. In 2018, that was our 5th year of Hacktoberfest. We brought in a new t-shirt, a new site, new partners, and also brand guidelines. That year, we had more than 240 events that happened around the world, where community organizers put together events very similar to this to bring people to talk about Hacktoberfest, to introduce more and more people to open source. And that year, our partners were GitHub and Twilio, and we had 46,000 signups, 400,000 plus completions, and 105,000 pull requests that happened. That was year number 5. In year number 6, very similar. Again, we were trying to make smaller improvements. For the first time, we partnered with Dev. Some of you might be familiar with the Dev platform, which puts out a lot of developer-related content. And we had 130,000 signups, more than 61,000 completions, and close to 500K pull requests that happened that year, right? And last year was very unusual. Of course, it was the first time Hacktoberfest happened during the pandemic. All the events were obviously converted into virtual events. And for the first time, we also introduced the option to make it a lot more sustainable, to help offset the carbon footprint. We introduced the option for developers who participated in Hacktoberfest and completed 4 pull requests to either choose a t-shirt for themselves, and we would ship it out wherever they are in the world. But we also introduced a new option called Pick Trees, Not Teas, where we partnered with a nonprofit to build out a DigitalOcean forest, and developers who participated successfully and completed 4 pull requests could choose to plant a tree in the DigitalOcean forest. And I'll talk about that in just a little bit. And a lot of people participated. More than 3% of the participants opted to have trees planted in the DigitalOcean forest. And as you can see, we saw a lot of completions from many different countries, including Brazil, Indonesia, Germany, UK, Sri Lanka, Canada, France, Spain, and India, of course, has a lot of people participating year on year, and pretty much every year. I think the largest number of virtual events for Hacktoberfest happen in India, right? Last year, we had about close to 170K signups, more than 100K completions, and close to 621,000 pull requests that happened on during Hacktoberfest. And with that, we're introducing the 8th edition of Hacktoberfest in 2021. So a couple of rules in terms of how it works. Hacktoberfest pretty much is open to everyone in our global community. There are no barriers. If you are enthusiastic, if you are a developer, if you are not a developer but want to still learn about Hacktoberfest and want to contribute to the open source community, you can participate in it. Last year, we introduced a new format where maintainers can choose whether they want to participate in Hacktoberfest or not, right? I'll speak about this in a little bit, but last year we did see a lot of spam PRs that happened, and to ensure we're gatekeeping the quality of the pull requests that happen for open source project, we also gave the power back to a lot of maintainers where they could self-select whether they want to participate in Hacktoberfest or not. Again, I think quality pull requests submitted on GitHub and GitLab are rewarded this year. What's the same as last year? Pretty much all the rules and requirements from last year remain the same. So if you participated last year, nothing really changes from a rules perspective. But there are a couple of new options, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit. Events, of course, will all be held virtually. We care for the safety of the community, so we're encouraging everyone to have virtual events and not necessarily have in-person events. You could have it as a meetup, a live stream, or even office hours. And again, very similar to last year, you can opt in to not receive a t-shirt and donate a tree instead. And similar to last year, Hacktoberfest continues to be maintainer friendly. There are opt-in repos, and we have put in measures to ensure there is spam prevention. What's different or new this year is that Hacktoberfest maintainers who meet the participation criteria will also receive a swag pack, right? Earlier, we were focusing a lot on contributors who made contributions to these open source repos, but we also want to recognize and reward maintainers for their projects. So as long as maintainers complete 4 pull request actions or PR actions, what we call, and I'll talk about that in our upcoming slides. We will also be sending out some t-shirts to our maintainers. And for the first time, we are also introducing GitLab support. Earlier, Hacktoberfest would primarily happen on GitHub. This year, it will happen both on GitHub and GitLab, right? And this year, we've also introduced the option for people to directly contribute monetarily to open source projects of your choice, right? We understand that a lot of people who work on open source volunteer their work, they put in their time and effort, and we want to ensure they're also recognized monetarily. They are supported financially to continue the work that they're doing, right? So that's what's happening this year. In terms of what's new, that we have new partners. We're excited to bring on board AppWrite and DeepSource, and also Intel, who was our previous partner as well. GitLab support, like I mentioned, you can contribute to Hacktoberfest both on GitHub and GitLab, and focus on maintainers and donation to open source projects, right? For contributors, if you're a contributor, you want to contribute to pull requests to open source projects, this is for you. You need to complete 4 pull requests, either across GitHub or GitLab. You can complete it. You can complete all 4 on GitHub or GitLab. You can complete 2 on GitHub, 2 on GitLab. So some of those options are still there, and all of those will be counted against your pull requests. Pull requests must be made on projects that have the Hacktoberfest accepted label, or on a repository that has the Hacktoberfest label, and your PR should be either merged, it should be approved by the maintainer, or it has to have the Hacktoberfest accepted label, right? So those are some of the actions that the maintainers will take, but those actions should be taken on your pull request to be counted for your completion, right? So hope that clarifies. So you can contribute to any repo that has the label Hacktoberfest, and once you've made pull requests, the maintainer should either merge your pull request to their repo, they should either approve it, or it should have the Hacktoberfest accepted label. So these are requirements for your pull request to be counted this year. If you're a maintainer, the 4 actions on PRs that you can take either across GitHub or GitLab, those actions are you can add the Hacktoberfest accepted label to a PR. You can leave it in an approving review, so we know you're still taking a look at this PR and it's work in progress. You can merge a PR saying you're accepting it and merging it into your GitHub repo, and you're adding a label containing either spam or invalid. So maintainers also have the option to mark any pull request as spam or invalid, so that they're in some way gatekeeping the quality of PR contributions, right? And for your project or your repo, it should have the Hacktoberfest topic added to it. So those are the rules for maintainers and contributors. Some of you might have the question, why does DigitalOcean organize Hacktoberfest, right? We believe the community is awesome. People come together to create awesome stuff. It's a great learning opportunity. We've had people come and learn about new technologies, new open source technologies, build really cool projects. It also welcomes a lot of new community members. Every year, we are amazed at the number of new people who get introduced to open source through Hacktoberfest. It helps grow real-world experience, right? A lot of companies as well participate in Hacktoberfest. They put out their projects, and it allows developers to contribute to real-world projects and experiences. It introduces people to free and open source software. I spoke about that. That's a given. And it makes contributing not just about code, right? Some of you who are not necessarily coders might be thinking, how can I contribute to open source? You can do a bunch of things. You can write documentation for open source projects. You can improve the work on the front end. There are a lot of things you can do without necessarily having to write code or the backend, right? It also creates job opportunities. We've had many people who secured internships and job opportunities at companies. In fact, at our recent event from AppWrite, we had one of the contributor who came and said, I participated in Hacktoberfest and it led to a job opportunity with AppWrite, right? So this person currently is a developer advocate at AppWrite, and the way they got introduced to AppWrite was through Hacktoberfest. And it also hopefully turns contributors into maintainers. So this year, let's say some of you are contributors, and hopefully next year you'll become a maintainer, you'll have your own project. We also encourage people to work on their own open source projects, right? Some of you, we understand, are busy through the year, and sometimes making that dedicated time to work on your individual projects is hard. So you can also choose to work on your own individual project and contribute to your own project during Hacktoberfest. That's allowed as well. With that, here's revealing the t-shirt for this year. This is 2021's Hacktoberfest t-shirt. And hopefully some of you are excited and will get a t-shirt for yourself after you've contributed successfully the 4 pull requests that are required to participate in Hacktoberfest. So we understand we're all beginners. So I'm going to quickly play a video where my colleague will speak to you about how to create your first pull request. Pay a lot of attention. I will also share this video, and I'll also tell you where to find this video on our website, and also a lot of other resources. But I think this is the demo about creating your pull request and getting started on Hacktoberfest.
Welcome to Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest is a month-long celebration of open source software run by DigitalOcean. Hacktoberfest is open to everyone in our global community. To participate, you'll need to submit 4 quality pull requests to public GitHub repositories. When you do, you'll earn some swag, including your very own Hacktoberfest 2020 t-shirt. You can sign up anytime between October 1st and October 31st, and we encourage you to connect with other developers and Hacktoberfest enthusiasts for virtual events and information sessions starting in September. In this quick video, we'll introduce you to Git and GitHub, the version control system that we'll be using to track your progress and repository hosting service that shares projects to collaborate on. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be ready to submit your first pull request and will be well on your way to participating in Hacktoberfest. Before we begin with Git and GitHub, let's talk about version control. When developers work on a project together, oftentimes they'll need to work on the same code base. While they're working, each developer needs to know about what changes the other dev made, so as not to duplicate work or write code over what has already been done. A version control system serves as a saving program for the code, where it assigns a version to a project and tracks changes made over time to each file in the project. In this way, developers can work together on a project by checking in with the latest version to see the changes made before working on their portion of the project's code. Git, a version control system used to manage developer projects of all sizes, was created in 2005 by Linus Torvalds, the creator of Linux, to help developers contribute code and share code revisions in a way that was fast, efficient, and inexpensive. Git creates code repositories to help developers edit, share, and publish code for all. GitHub is a cloud-based repository hosting service that allows developers to take code that they've written on their local machines and share it with the world. GitHub provides a way to share the version track projects on your local computer publicly through repositories or central file locations, and depending on the project's availability, it can either be a private or a public repository. Other developers can continue the project to edit the code, provide insight, and more. To get started with GitHub, you can create an account at github.com. We have links on the Hacktoberfest resources page that details exactly how to get started with GitHub. Check it out after this video. All right, let's get started cloning and editing our first repo. First, let's navigate to the repo that we'd like to clone. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to use our Haiku repo. If you're following along with me, we've provided the link in the transcript for you to clone this repo as well. So I found a repo that looks interesting to work on that I can contribute meaningful content to. Remember, each of the pull requests you submit for Hacktoberfest should contribute to an existing repo in a way that helps the project to thrive. Take some time to pick one that resonates with you before starting. All right, before I clone this repo, that is, take a copy of the code here on GitHub onto my local machine, I want to take a copy of the whole repo into my own GitHub account. To do this, I'll make a fork of the repo. It's like I'm taking a bite of it, a copy that I can use to edit that doesn't affect the main or source code base. I'll navigate to click the fork button. Then watch as GitHub takes this repo and adds it as a copy to my account. As you see, now my name appears as the creator of this repo, which is a fork of the main Haiku repo. Next, I'll need to navigate over to my command line interface. I'm using Terminal on Mac, but there's a number of command line interfaces that are available for your OS. Use the one that works best for you. Git also offers a graphical interface that allows you to edit repos with visual commands. A link to download and learn more about that interface is available as a resource. In the terminal, I'm going to enter git clone. This command will clone or copy the copy that I just created from the Haiku repo down to my local machine. This will enable me to make changes to the code base locally or on my own machine to upload to the cloud remotely. Awesome. So we have the Haiku repo down on our local machine, and now we're ready to make a change. Using the command line interface, I'm going to navigate to the folder of our cloned repo, Haiku repo, by using cd or change directory. I'm using Visual Studio Code as my text editor and IDE of choice. There's a number of editors and IDEs or integrated development environments out there that allow you to write code in a number of languages and format it using best practices, snippets, and more. While Visual Studio Code is just one IDE, I'd suggest checking out a few and picking the one that works best for your coding environment. Resources on picking an IDE can be found on our Hacktoberfest resource page. Now, in a situation where I'm in an unfamiliar code base, I take my time to read and understand everything that's going on and find parts of the code that I might make more efficient or suggest different solutions for. It's worth it to fully understand the code base and read any associated documentation provided before making changes. Now that we've made a change to the Haiku repo, we'll need to track and save that change. The first step in tracking your change is to add it to the version you're working on. To do that, we'll execute the command git add. Writing the command in this way allows you to add all changes made to the repo across files. If you need to only submit changes to an individual file, use git add in the name of file. After we add, we'll get no confirmation. To see your changes, you can execute the command git status. This allows you to check on the status of your tracked changes. We'll see that your file has been added, but not committed as a change. Git provides this step in the event that you need to amend a change before officially tracking it as new or edited code. Next, let's commit our change. We're confident that it's right and would like to submit this change for consideration of those who maintain the project. I'll execute the command git commit and add a message with /m so that other developers who are collaborating on this project will know what my changes are. In this way, everyone can be informed of changes that are made. This message is tracked along with the commit ID in my username so other developers know who added this change. After committing, I'll need to push my changes from my local machine to the remote repository on GitHub. To do this, I'll execute the command git push. Here, we can designate an origin for the push. In this instance, we want it to go straight to the main repo that I forked from the source Haiku repo. So far, we've identified a repo that we'd like to edit. We took a copy of the repo onto our GitHub account and local machine using fork and clone. We then made a change and submitted our change with git add, then solidified our change by running git commit, which committed the change, and git push, which pushed our change from the local machine to the remote repository on GitHub. If we look on GitHub now, we'll see that the change we made is reflected in the files in our copy of the repo. Exciting! We're now ready to let the maintainers of the project know that we have a change to the repo that we're confident about and ready to submit. To do this, we'll click the pull request button here to the right. After the pull request button is clicked, a new page will open with a form that explains the changes we made and shows if the changes made will in any way conflict with the existing content. We'll add in an appropriate title that details the change, and in the description, add an explanation of what changes were made and why. What you add here can vary depending on the project. Take a look at the project's collaboration guidelines to make sure your pull request is formatted correctly. After adding in that information, we'll scan the PR page to make sure that our committed change does not conflict. If everything checks out, we'll get a green Submit Pull Request button at the bottom that escalates our request to make a change to the source Haiku poem code base that will be live for anyone viewing that main branch. Be patient. It may take maintainers some time to review your request. Amendments and comments can be added on the pull request page, and new commits to the same affected files will appear in the request history here. Congratulations! We've successfully submitted our first pull request. You did it! In this tutorial, you learned about Git GitHub and successfully identified and submitted a change to a public repo. For Hacktoberfest, you'll need to submit 4 meaningful pull requests. So again, find a project that resonates with you and have fun hacking. For more information about Hacktoberfest, visit our main page. For additional information about Git and GitHub, visit github.com. Happy Hacktoberfest 2020!
Awesome. So you all saw that video. I understand some of you were not able to exactly see because the resolution was pretty bad there. But one of the organizers has just also pinged you the link. It's called hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com. If you go there, I'll also show you where to find that video so you can watch it at your own pace, right? In terms of getting you all started in Hacktoberfest, a couple of steps, right? Well, one is you need to ensure that you sign up for Hacktoberfest. I'll just walk you through our website and the steps to sign up. Read through the resources page, review the code of conduct. That's really important. There is a certain ethos for Hacktoberfest, and we want to ensure everyone kind of understands that. There is also a Discord channel that we have where we have colleagues from DigitalOcean available through the month. If you have questions, Ayush, I saw that your comment saying it's a little confusing. Don't worry, I'm going to walk you through a couple of steps here and resources. But if you still have questions, join the Discord channel of Hacktoberfest and one of my colleagues will definitely help you. You can also discover the projects that are there on GitHub and GitLab. Some of you were asking in chat about which are those projects where you can contribute. I'll talk to you about where you can find them, right? With that, let me stop sharing and I'm going to bring on the website where I can. All right. If you go to hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com, this is the main page where you will see how you can get started. There is another video by our CEO giving to open source, choosing trees, not teas. You can understand more. Here's a lot more information about what is Hacktoberfest and how you can get started. What do maintainers do? What are quality pull requests? And what are engaged? What does engaged maintenance look like, right? What are the rules? So pull requests can be made in any participating GitHub or GitLab repos. Look for the Hacktoberfest topic to know if a project is participating in Hacktoberfest. You can sign up anytime between October 1st and October 31st. Just be sure to complete your pull requests within the end of the month. The pull request must contain commits you made yourself. If a maintainer reports your pull request as spam, it will not be counted towards your participation in Hacktoberfest among those 4 pull requests that are required. If a maintainer reports behavior that is not in line with the project's line of conduct, code of conduct, you will be ineligible to participate. Keep in mind, we want to ensure we are having quality pull requests and we are overall improving the quality of open source. And again, a pull request is considered approved once it has overlapping approval review from maintainers, or it has been merged by maintainers, or has been given the Hacktoberfest accepted label, right? You can find a lot of events. I'll speak to you about where to find the events. Here's our partners. A lot of community partners also spread the word about Hacktoberfest. If you go here, you can join the Discord channel, right, where you'll have other people who are participating, but also my colleagues from DigitalOcean who are there to support you. So definitely join the Discord channel for more information. Next, we'll take a look at resources. So in terms of resources, these are the values with which DigitalOcean Hacktoberfest has been built. Of course, it's open and welcome. Everyone is welcome to participate. Quantity is fun. You saw a lot of the great numbers there, but quality is what we want to focus on. So please ensure you're not doing spam pull requests to get a t-shirt, but really contributing meaningfully to open source, right? We want to think about short-term action, of course, but long-term impact. So this is the video I had played earlier. So if you go to the resources section, you can find that video about creating your first pull request and watch it with your at your own pace. In terms of getting started, if you're a maintainer, you can click here. If you're participating, if you're a first-timer, beginners is where you will find a lot of resources. If you want to organize your own events, if you're a company and you want to organize your own Hacktoberfest event and you want to understand more about the quality standards, you can click here, right? Let's say you're a beginner. If you go here, it talks about what's awesome for beginners. The following are the repositories that are curated for beginners, right? Awesome for beginners, up for grabs, and first timers only. So we've made it really easy for you to find projects that you can contribute to. And again, I think there's a lot of training kit, understanding GitHub flow, getting started with GitLab. So lots of good resources if you're just getting started. So do check that out. If you're a maintainer for other participation, let's say, what are the details of participation? The rules are given here. So go through that in detail before getting started. Right. Again, I think we want to reduce spam. That's top of mind. Please read these rules so you're not contributing spam. If you want to check out all the events that are happening, right, there are lots of other events happening as well. So we have an exhaustive list of all the events that are happening. You'll also find this event, the GDG group event that has been listed here. So lots of people are organizing their own events. If you want to participate in more other events, there are also some people who are doing in-person events in India. So again, that's great. As you can see, we have people participating all over, from Russia, from Germany, from Brazil, from Kenya, Pakistan, all open source enthusiasts who are contributing to the betterment of open source. So that's events. If you want to organize your own event, you can go to the event organizer kit. I also spoke about giving back to open source projects and contributing monetarily. Or if you are a maintainer and want your open source project to be listed for donations, you can also mark it with a Hacktoberfest label, and our team will kind of list it here so that people can look up your project and contribute through donations. Right. That's that. And this is where I think the most important thing, right? A lot of you have a lot of questions. So frequently asked questions is your best friend through this month. So there are lots of detailed answers to how to track progress. How do you get your stickers? What is a valid pull request? Some of you might have basic questions like, what is Hacktoberfest? What is open source? How do you get started? Do you get a prize? Some of you were asking for certificates. All of those questions has been answered here, right? How do you get your t-shirts? How do you organize an event? All of that is there in the FAQ section. So please take the time to go through that. I understand in this session, we won't be able to cover all of it, but we put together a lot of really good resources for you to ensure that you're able to understand and meaningfully contribute to open source. I'm taking a quick look at the comments. Yeah. Anveshan, what I would suggest is if you can join the Hacktoberfest Discord channel and maybe ask one of my colleagues this question, they'll help you out in terms of why your pull request didn't qualify for the Hacktoberfest condition, right? I think they'll be able to take a closer look at your specific situation and help you out, right? Yeah, I think pretty much that's what I had. Pranjal or Divyansh, anything else before we wrap up here?
Nothing much from my side. Pranjal, can you just tell me if we missed something? I guess not. Okay, so that was a very brief session. Thank you so much, Mohan. And I believe if you're ready, then we can move on to the Q&A session for our audience as well.
Sure.
Okay, so guys, you have the chat box, and you can just ask your questions for Mohan over there, and I'll be reading out it to him. So just start asking.
The link
Guys,
to the Discord server.
yeah.
That is, if you go to the homepage, if you go all the way down, it's here.
No.
I'm going to share it with the organizers and they can send this out.
So Anurag, please help the guy with the Discord link. Any more questions, guys? The link of the Discord server is shared, and if you guys have any more questions, yes, Utkarsh, do you have any question? I believe not. As the session went very well, it was very informative, and personally, everything was cleared from my end. Okay, so Ayush Chaudhary has one. Does the repository need to have issues? I mean, it should be flawless or just can have some bugs. So Mohan, what
Yeah.
is your take on it?
Yeah, all of that is welcome. Even if let's say you think your project is flawless, if you want to put that out for open source contributions, you can just use the label, and people can contribute in very many ways, right? They can write documentation, they can fix bugs. Yeah, that's also part of the contributing to Hacktoberfest. So all of those are welcome.
Thank you. And next is Arshdeep. He asked, I wanted to, sorry, not for, yeah, for Arshdeep, right. I wanted to ask whether the Hacktoberfest needs some pre-skills which we should have.
No, anybody is welcome. Like I said, you don't need to be like a developer or a coder to contribute to Hacktoberfest. You can do a lot of things. There are lots of simple repos as well. Especially check out the beginner section for a lot of simple repos. So no pre-skills are required. You can kind of check out simple, get started very in a simple way, and maybe build on your skills.
We have Siddhant next. And Siddhant asks, sir, I use Python as my coding language. What projects should I do?
Yeah,
So
I would suggest you to check out the projects that are listed, Siddhant. I'm sure you'll find a lot of interesting projects there as well. Let me quickly go there. Yeah. So for participation, right? Yeah, there are also some intermediaries. I'm sure if you start looking up the projects, what I would suggest is if you go to GitHub and look up for Hacktoberfest projects, I'm sure if you also search by Python, it'll throw up some results. Or again, I think maybe ask that as a question on our Discord channel, and my colleagues will be able to help you with identifying the right projects for you.
thank you, Mohan. Do you have any more questions for Mr. Mohan?
I'm also curious how many of you are looking to participate in Hacktoberfest this year. Maybe just say a yes or give me a thumbs up in the comments.
Okay, so we have a question by Krupa. Do the peers have to be merged to be counted?
No, they don't have to be merged. Like I said, I think they could be marked under review. But yeah, it should be accepted. They don't necessarily have to be merged. Finally, we are giving the maintainer that option. But as long as they are in the Hacktoberfest accepted label, it will count against your numbers. But again, whether they merge it is finally left to the maintainers.
Well,
Yeah.
again, we have a good response on the comments. Okay. So if you guys have any
Exciting.
more questions,
Awesome. A couple of people are looking forward to participating. Like I said, I think the website is your best friend there. A lot of really good resources. So please ensure you go to hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com to understand the program, what pull requests are, where it's counted. And if you still have questions, the Discord channel is the best bet in terms of getting more help and support. Of course, I think even in this community and the people who've joined us here, there are people who've already participated in Hacktoberfest and are really looking to help others getting started. So again, that could be a great way to connect and learn from one another as well. Awesome.
okay, so
Thanks.
yeah.
Glad that you enjoyed.
So I guess the questions are cleared from our audience, and they have. That's good that they don't have any more questions. So thank you so much, Mohan, for joining and just informing and educating about the Hacktoberfest. And also, I hope people join more and more and participate and get felicitated by DigitalOcean. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining today.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, and all the best, everyone. Take care. Happy hacking.
So guys, don't start leaving as of now. We have some questions for you over here as well. and the first one to answer them will lead to official merchandise from GDSC. And so, okay, so Pranjal, should I go with my questions? Hello, Pranjal or Anurag. Can someone just confirm? Cool. Okay. So let's go with questions, and I'll be just asking 3 questions, and the top one to answer them would win a official merchandise from GDSC. Okay. So the first one is, what is a pull request? Does anyone of here knows what is a pull request? If yes, then comment, and let's see who does this first. Yeah. Come on, guys. Any insights on pull request? Great. That's a positive answer. Okay, cool. So the first prize for this question goes to Ayush Chaudhary. Ayush Chaudhary, get reached to DSC BU Instagram handle and claim your prize from there as well. I hope the organizers will send the link or the username over there. Sorry, Ashdeep, the moment has passed. Let me go to my second question, which is a very simple question as you have attended the whole session. What is Hacktoberfest? What do you mean by Hacktoberfest? What it is about? Just a small insight from you guys. Over the chat, over the chat. Yeah. Anurag, I ask you to display over the winner to my screen so that I can just announce the winner, and should be the appropriate winner. Okay. So it's Ayush Chaudhary again. Method of submitting contributions to an open development project. Yeah, true, you are right, but I'm looking for a more specific and brief answer, Ayush. So Muhammad Alif, yeah, definitely a correct answer, and you have won the second questions prize. Do claim it on Instagram handle of DSCBU. So my last question is, who are partners of Hacktoberfest? The Mr. Mohan Ram has displayed the official website of Hacktoberfest. Also, he commented on the partners. So I'm just waiting. Who are the official partners of Hacktoberfest? The last question. Come on, guys, for those comments. So Anurag, based on the answers, can you just pin the most appropriate answer? Okay, so Praveen Tale, yeah, DigitalOcean, Intent, and Applet, you're absolutely correct. The official partners of Hacktober for 2021 are DigitalOcean, Intel, and Applet. Great. Okay, so we have our winners, and I asked the organizers to just mention on the DSCBU handle on the screen so that our winners know where to claim their prizes. So we have a doubt. Okay, I'm supposed to drop it. Okay, so you just have to just let us know that you attended the Hacktoberfest event and you won a prize in it as well, and we'll just verify it from the recording and let you know about the address, and then you can just have your goodies as well. Okay, so once again go forward and send the Instagram link. Okay, so you have the Instagram link of DSC View. Do take a screenshot in order to get your prizes over there. And I guess that's it from my side for the questions. So it was a great day of announcements over here, and I believe you all take participate in Hacktoberfest and win exciting goodies. And yeah, show off to them on your friends or LinkedIn. Thank you for joining today and have a great day as well.